all partisans under the sound of my voice to kindly stand in observance of a moment of silence. The tragedy, the tragic death of one of our daughters at the home of Councillor Glorious Scott. Thank you. You may please have your seat. The Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change condemns in the strongest possible terms the recent attack at the home of former Chief Justice Councillor Gloria Musso Scott, an incident that led to the untimely death of a family member and severe bodily injuries to another. This act of depravity must not find a place in our society. However, and unfortunately, some politicians and adversaries of the government are using the tragic events to score political points. Accordingly, from the perspective of the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change, we call on all Liberians to respect the family of Councillor Scott and to sympathize with them during this devastating period of their grief and avoid politicizing these tragic events. The CDC also calls on the Ministry of Justice, the Liberian National Police, and all security entities to join forces and deploy their best resources to speedily, fairly, and adequately conduct an investigation in this matter. While the investigation is ongoing, we appeal to all Liberians, especially our fellow citizens in the opposition, to desist from making false claims that the unfortunate acts were the results of the government or government's failure to provide protection in our efforts to witch hunt like adversaries. This is far from the truth. The administration of His Excellency Dr. George Manawia does not have one political prisoner and have never engaged in political witch hunting. Subsequently, we appeal to our citizens to await the outcome of this ongoing investigation. In the wake of these tragic events, there are unscrupulous individuals in foreign countries who make outlandish, baseless, and unsubstantiated claims about Liberia and senior officials of government, among others. We believe that the sole intent of these outrageous comments is to instigate chaos, spread falsehood, and foment instability, especially towards the 2023 general and presidential elections. We call upon foreign governments where these accusations are being fomented, especially in those countries which have contributed hugely to our political, democratic, infrastructural, and economic development, to be aware of the potential danger these unfounded claims can impact on our domestic stability.
The country should be aware according to order. Amanda!
Too much has been invested to protect and preserve our peace by our international partners. His Excellency President George Weah is an epitome of peace and reconciliation who, in his lifetime, has busied himself with putting smiles on the faces of his people while espousing the rights of everyone to freely express themselves and to freely associate. To circumvent these hallmark attributes, of the regime which has kept Liberia on the steady course democratically is indigenous. Is disingenuous. Sorry. To circumvent, I will say that again. To circumvent these hallmark attributes of the regime which has kept Liberia on the steady course democratically is disingenuous, selfish, and unpatriotic. With particularity, we have concerned ourselves about recent comments by former TRC Commissioner Jerome Verdier, linking several top officials of the government to murder at Councillor Scott's residence. Appearing on the local talk show, Councillor Verdier falsely linked the Secretary General of the mighty Coalition for Democratic Change, Jefferson Koji, of having connection with gruesome killing, or with the gruesome killing of the daughter of former Chief Justice Councillor Gloria Musu Scott. In his continuous hallucinations packed with innuendos and misrepresentations, he maliciously and falsely concocted a link between the police director, Patrick Sudu, Mayor Jefferson Koji, Mr. Samora Wolokoli, the party's vice chair for finance and investment, and many other partisans for the death of LRA auditors, despite a full investigation report establishing otherwise. He once again, without any evidence, lied on these officials about being connected to the murder of Councillor Scott's daughter. This is a political ploy wickedly crafted to weaken the real-led government and put the masses against key actors within the system.
Yo, their tactics have been discovered. Yo.
Yeah.
Yo, their tactics have been discovered. Yo.
Once more stated, this political ploy wickedly crafted to weaken the real-led government and put the masses against key actors within the system. Hence, we call on the police and the Ministry of Justice to request the U.S. government to investigate Mr. Verdier or turn him over to the Liberian authorities for the interrogation regarding his insightful comments. It is not the first time Mr. Verdier's ill-will statements have been made against Mayor Koji. It took other TRC commissioners to dispel the lies. In 2019, when he claimed falsely that Major Koji participated in the erstwhile 14-year civil unrest as a child soldier. He is yet to apologize for those comments out of shame and humiliation. We cannot allow such creeping meanings to continue unabated. These outlandish comments have the propensity to incite violence and create chaos in our society. Henceforth, if Jerome Verdier has any evidence, we call upon him to present such to the Liberian National Police or other authorities in all jurisdictions. Where applicable, we will use legal recourse in ensuring that miscreants like Jerome Verdier are available to face the weight of the law and for the truth to be established. The party's legal team are evaluating all options. As a party of law and respect for the principles of democratic governance, we will await the result of the investigation and consider further actions in exercising the rights of the party and partisans and seek the appropriate and available legal remedy to these false allegations being uttered by miscreants, the likes of Jerome Verdier. I thank you, and we look forward to subsequent questions, if there are any, from members of the press.
Viva, 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 Congress, viva!
Viva!
Viva, 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 Congress, viva!
Viva!
No, No evidence askia tate yo. Yeah. Manta. Where to? Manta. Where to?
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, you just listened to a full statement read by the chairman of our party. Now, in the circumference and the belly wave of the presentation made by the chairperson, we asked the press this time around, ask question in that perimeter. We will not appreciate deviation. We will not appreciate detouring questions. Ask your question direct to those issues that he spoke about. On this basis, and considering the guidelines and the period that have been laid, we now pause to take few questions. We are taking 4 questions. The first 2, and we'll come back for the second 2. Yes. So I see your hands up from Ford.
Thank you.
Please call your name and the people or media outlets you report for.
Thank you. My name is Theo Williams, and I report for the US-based Focus on Liberia online television network. Chairman, you are asking for the US government intervention as far as the allegations are concerned. My question to you is, has there been any formal communication to that effect?
Thank you. You say you report for a US-based organization, right?
Yeah.
So you're well familiar with US laws. You're also familiar with the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. It requires all Liberian citizens to exercise caution in remaining within the bailiwicks of the rule of law. And as a country governed by laws, when these kinds of outlandish and unsubstantiated comments are made that could impair governance and create chaos and anarchy and incite the population against the existing democratic culture, existing democratic order, there's no normal that we utilize the rule of law to bring such culprits to justice. So we are a political institution, despite the fact that we have produced a government, but Liberia is governed by a governing process through different governing institutions. And the Ministry of Justice operates within a bailiwick of exercising jurisdiction over issues of law-breaking, violence, etc. So we are calling on the Ministry of Justice, working hand in hand with the Liberian National Police, to request the government of the United States to encourage those individuals that are making outlandish comments to come forward and provide more evidence and subject themselves to an inquiry process to establish the fact. Because you can't sit on foreign soil and make outlandish comments and don't expect to be brought to book, especially when those comments are baseless, unsubstantiated, and does not stand the analysis of the truth. So we are requesting government to work with the U.S. Government to ensure the individuals that are responsible allegedly for making these comments that will create a shadow over our peace process and incite the population and lead to violence to bring it forward, to answer to questions that will be preferred by our security system, our security agencies of governance. It's really normal that you do that. So don't expect that when you go out and just speak, more so from the fact that these statements are not just coming from any individual. He is placing dates, he's placing a timeline to events that he clearly knows to be false. And so it is only normal that this political party that believes that is a rule of law party work with an existing political structure or democratic structure to request those individuals to be brought forward to answer questions, to establish the basis of those wild allegations that cannot be substantiated under any circumstances.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken from you. Please call your name and the institution you report for.
I'm E.J. Nantamia Debo from the Oracle News Daily. What do you think is the driving force for the persistent rift between the former TRC chairman, Councillor Bodio, and your Secretary General? Besides, what injured this across your party?
Well, to be very honest with you, I'm not going to delve into the legality of the the circumstances surrounding the wild allegation leveled by Mr. Verdier, because as we speak, there's an investigative process being conducted by the Liberia National Police, and so we will get that project a chance to be completed. Be that as it may, you ask as to what could be the inspiration behind Mr. Verdier's relentless business attacks against our party Secretary General. As you know, I cannot tell you that, so that question should be posed to him. But I may insinuate that Mayor Kochi, whom I've come to know over a 17 years period, is a decent character that will not harm a fly. He is zealous, he's passionate about his political persuasion, about his political belief. He belongs to a struggle. He believes in that struggle and will fight for that struggle any day. But to the extent that there is effort to portray him as violent, as a miscreant, is totally baseless, is false, and cannot be substantiated. I know him personally, and I'm proud any day to rise to it defend because I know the character in the man Jefferson Kochi. So those comments and characterizations brought to bear by the likes of Mr. Verdier may be driven by envy or by fear of what Major Kochi is achieving today or what he may achieve tomorrow. He has a lot of potential as a young man. He has a promising future, and it is not going to be surprising people who also envisage the future will see him as a political threat and will want to sort of intimidate or to impose upon him baseless characterizations that will be a stalemate to his political future. That's not going to work. Because Liberians are not stupid. Liberians know who Jefferson Kochi is. Liberians know the heart he has for his country and for his party, and that he's a non-violent individual. So the motivation beyond Mr. Verdier's relentless, baseless, outlandish attack against Mr. Kochi may be answered by him, but I will speak to the fact that all the comments that have been leveled against Mr. Kochi, consistent with recent allegations, consistent with the falsehood that he had put up some time ago, that Mayor Kochi was a child soldier, baseless, unsubstantiated, and lacks any iota of truth. Now, with that said, I'd like to go to the next stage. You talk about what may be motivating these kinds of incessant attacks against the mighty coalition of democratic change against the president. I may tell you this for fact, that we are in an election cycle, so you should expect more of these kind of attacks, because those who are in a political race in the background don't get attacked because they pose no threat for nobody. But those that are the front runners of a political process will be subjected to political attacks. So this is what is happening. The opposition know that combinedly they cannot defeat the CDC. They know that His Excellency George Weah is on path to inevitably becoming president in the first round this year. They know these realities. And so they are throwing falsehood, they are throwing attacks his way, thinking that may slow his momentum down. But that's a false guesswork. It's not going to work. Liberian people know what he has done. They are open with the mandate of change that has been actualized, that has been fulfilled. They know that the foundation for that change has been laid, and they know that the president deserves a second 6 years to continue building on that foundation of change. So no attack coming from the opposition, whichever way it comes from, is going to work to slow down this gigantic tsunami momentum that has been established by the president and the mighty coalition of democratic change. So these are the reasons behind the attack. You remember, I mean, we just had an earth-shattering nomination program that had never before been seen in the history of our country. We're able to lock down not just Monserrado, every major city in the Republic of Liberia. Simultaneously too, not just every major city in Liberia, but in other countries, there were simultaneous programs. I saw a program staged on the same date in Nairobi by seditions there. I saw a program staged in Cote d'Ivoire. I saw a program staged in Ghana. I saw a program staged in parts of Asia, Australia, Europe. Seditions at every level, every walk of life, staged a simultaneous concomitant nomination program on the 4th of February to demonstrate capacity, to demonstrate strength, to demonstrate the reality of His Excellency George Weah's first round victory. That is the reason for the attacks. That is what they are magnifying everything that they can utilize to throw that away. That is why they become like the drowning man. A man that is drowning will hang on every straw that he sees floating over the water. So I think members of the opposition know that this election is a done deal, that His Excellency George Manneh Weah is on his way to claiming re-election, possibly in the first round, because of the huge political success, because of the huge governance infrastructural success he has achieved in 5 years and counting. So do not be surprised. Attacks of this magnitude will continue to proliferate against the party. They will continue to speak against the president's agenda because we are in political times and they have no way of stopping the momentum because the mighty coalition for democratic change is on path to winning re-election in the first round in October this year.
I the Congress must go.
So we've gone 2 questions. We got 2 more to go. On this note, we take you right there. Please call your name and the institution you report for.
Thank you very much, Chairman Morlu. I'm Trokon Farmer and I report for Spoon FM.
Spoon, right?
Yes, since the news broke, a group within the CDC has said that they are recommending that institutions that will be used, media institutions that will be used during the elections for any sort of news like the one we have it now. The institution, they are recommending that such institutions should be closed down by the government of Liberia. Do you support the
Which news?
The news about the allegation, because it was brought up on one of the radio stations, and your group
What is the name?
Spoon
Please respect his right to ask questions.
Spoon Talk, and your group, the group within the CDC is recommending the closing of such institution or any other institution that will be involved in such.
And what's that group name?
CDC COP.
Well, you see, listen, I'm not going to speak to an issue that has, say, clarity in the past. The president spoke on that issue, and the president's position is the official position of the party. So we're not going to go beyond that. There's no group in the CDC that is calling for the closure of media entities. CDC is led by the most tolerant Liberian humanitarian ever in our history. The most tolerant, peaceful Liberian leader ever. And that leader has taken actions that have institutionalized policies that have increased press freedom, that has amplified press freedom. At no time in our country's history has there been so much freedom of speech like today under His Excellency George Weah. That is an uncontestable fight, or incontestable fight. That fight cannot be contested. Liberia is freer today more than it was 10 years, 50 years back. That freedom is enjoyed because of the liberal democratic policies of His Excellency George Manneh Weah. This is the first time in Liberian history where anybody, in as much as it is wrong to do so, but politicians have made it a culture in the opposition to insult the president, thinking that is politics, and goes to bed free. Nobody gets arrested. We don't have political prisoner. No media institution has experienced crackdown despite the fact that you report whatever you want to report. And so all media institutions are free to operate consistent with the existing rule of law. So the CDC or members of the party will not countenance any process where we will go against or create media upheaval because they are reporting things that we don't like. If you're reporting things that are not fact-based, we will do fact-checking. It is our duty to do that, but not for to silence you because you are putting things out there that don't represent us. We have trained propagandists, we have trained leaders, we have trained partisans, we have trained militants that are up to the task to erect defensive mechanism against falsehood, to do fact-checking. We always do that without fail. So when media institutions choose to operate outside the scope of professional journalism, we are able to erect a guidepost that will operate to the detriment of that ill practice of journalism. But that would not give us any reason as a democratic institution, as a law-based political party, to antagonize you because you criticize us. Even though media institutions may criticize us, we will always invite you to come here. Be a spoon, no matter the name of the institution, no matter the characters behind the institution. Once you are a journalist and you are a media institution, we'll always deal with you. We'll always respect your right to operate. And when you go outside the norms of the practice of journalism, we will fact check you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we now take the last question, I guess, from Front Page Africa.
Chairman, my name is Edwin Chinoe. I work for Front Page Africa. In the midst of this controversy, Eugene Fagon, who happened to be one of the former minister of this government, announced yesterday on the same spoon talk of his resignation from the party. Have you received that resignation, and what does this resignation mean for the party?
Well, in the first place, I don't intend to comment on the suggestion that an individual or a party member has resigned and that resignation was published on social media. The party respects the membership of every partisan. We appreciate every party member. And we will hope that the entire country will become seditious. It's a hope, but that's not possible. So regardless, while we want to see everyone become members of the party, but we are prepared to ensure that those who are not members are respected. That also includes individuals that were once with us that choose to walk away to be respected. So we respect the right of every Liberian to associate, and they choose not to associate or to affiliate. So membership is by choice, it's voluntary, and resignation is also voluntary. So it's open, but I do know that anyone walking away from CDC will be radically mistaken. You cannot be walking away from the side that is winning. CDC is winning the elections. Elections are not won on election day. This is the systematic process. So why will you go to a war front and you clearly see that the army that is defeating the other side should not be supported? So it's not normal that people join armies that are winning. So in the first place, if a party member is resigning, that member knows the process through which resignation takes place, and I believe I will be the first to know. So I don't think that partisans resigning on social media should be taken seriously. Mr. Fagon, who continues to be a member of the CDC, has a right to remain member, has a right to choose not to remain member. We value his membership. He said many things, but you don't see us any day saying because you have said or made business allegations, so he's no member of the CDC. No, he's still a member of the party. And we hope that he will continue to be a member. We value his membership and look forward to him transcending discussing party matters or governing matters on social media and coming internally where discussions about issues can be held. And so I look forward to that. I mean, what you're telling me is news, and I'm going to take it up to him and ask questions. But I don't think he will resign from CDC because CDC is winning the elections. So it is in everyone's interest to be coming to CDC. But look at the country. I mean, CDC is enjoying the highest political endorsement. And there's something big coming up on the 11th. Watch out for it. I mean, it's going to be earth-shattering. It will shake the foundation of the opposition. They know they are losing. Don't also be surprised that there will be attempts, ceaseless attempts to instigate kills, to instigate violence, to disrupt the electoral process from the opposition because they know they are not going to win. They know election is over. In the coming day, we'll simply increase the numbers at the ballot box. And so we are committed to doing that, and that is going to be done on a free, fair, and democratic atmosphere. With that said, we'd like to call upon all citizens to respect the family, as already stated in the statement, respect Councillor Laura Musu-Scott, and respect the family, and go over to the residents and sympathize. What happened is tragic. We are struck by this tragedy, but we are giving the police a chance to conduct or to conclude investigation. That is what a responsible institution does. We have to give the police a chance to conduct a complete investigation, to establish the basis for what happened. You cannot be insinuating things that are not based on facts. Most of what has been said out there, these conspiracy theories, are just conspiracy theories. They are not fact-based. The police will conduct investigation, and the facts will be unraveled to the public to inform the public about the tragedy, and corporate should be brought to justice. We already said that in our statement, that there should be speedy investigation to establish the basis of fact, to hold corporates responsible and to prosecute them. And so we are hoping that those who are making derogatory comments, insightful comments, incriminating comments that are not based in facts should come forward and adduce evidence. We hope that those seated overseas making these egregious comments that are not substantiated should also be invited by the police or the Ministry of Justice to come forward and adduce evidence to substantiate their allegations. But as far as I know, that it's an investigative process, and the party supports that process. So parties and the Liberian people should remain calm while that process concludes. Citizens, Amanda!